That's literally what he used.
Hey, whoa, hey, everybody. It's What Drives Us. And if I look
You're
surprised, it's
professional.
because I am. And yes, I did get a haircut. Now that we're over the personal problems, hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 386 for October 14th, 2020. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host this week. Let me introduce the panel so we can get this show on the road. My first co-host, Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. Wow, it's middle of October. I am surprised that we're this far into 2020. Yep. Let's just power through it.
Absolutely. The other co-host, the lovely and talented Georgia McKenzie. And I'm sorry, Georgia, what is the background from?
This is a Milanese living room from some house that I definitely cannot afford. But it's nice to dream.
You can see my living space. Very elegant. Yes, by the way, this is a freezer. Okay.
It's a chest freezer. This is the best. It's very efficient.
It's where I keep the body parts.
Oh, well, good for that too.
Absolutely.
Just the chest.
I'm sorry, Georgia. Hi, welcome.
Welcome to everybody.
Thank you very much. And speaking of welcome to everybody, even our friends north of the border who are safely ensconced outside of the lower 48, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Just keeping my eye on that border, guys.
Yep. Good idea.
Get out the old binoculars every once in a while. Just make sure things are secure.
Make sure
Trespassers
those
will be
Keep us
shot.
out of there.
Give it about 3 weeks.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
And last and certainly not least, the founder and owner and main man at Boulder Hybrids, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Glad to be back.
Back at the car sales office already. It's already dark
My
there.
beverage.
What are you
Yeah.
drinking, Paul?
Honey IPA. It's a light IPA, which kind of is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
4% with 100 calories. So,
Wow.
Aw,
go figure.
For those of you that aren't aware, this is not Stone Brewing Company product in this glass. Okay.
Darn it.
coffee.
But that's okay.
It's just coffee.
It's Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
And not almost now this time last but
The
not
Diete
Diet
Pepsi.
Sunkist.
oh, Diet Sunkist. Our man in the Mid-Atlantic
Water.
region. Well, what the heck was that? Looked like a lightsaber, Georgia, all of a sudden.
I will take a lightsaber.
Our man in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Casey Green.
Hello, hello. It's cool. It was sunny today. It's gonna be cooler and dark now.
It's still like 102 here.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I don't want to
Wow.
think about it. Yeah, it's warm today. It's steamy. Well, speaking of steamy, we've got a steaming platter full of fresh news. And no one better on this panel to start us off scooping that steaming hot news than Tony Schaefer.
Wow. I'm not really sure where to go with that. I'm just going to have to make do. I found an interesting article in governmenttechnology.com. That's govtech.com, talking about, and the name of the article is Re-imaging Interstate Rights of Way Could Bring Energy Boom. And so what I want to do here is show you a picture, if I may.
No, none of those pictures.
Of
bad picture.
the idea here is that there are literally tens of thousands of miles in the United States of space between interstates, between the roads. Now here and in this article, they only talked about what they call the right-of-ways, and as you can see here in this picture, it's between the on-ramps and off-ramps is what they were focusing on. And so what they came up with is there's 127,000 acres of land like this, and it's a lot of land, and you can't build a building or anything on land like that. So what better use for something like that than to put solar panels? Now, they estimate 127,000 square acres, like I said, or 127,000 acres is enough to generate, they said basically it's, honestly not much. It's 36 terawatts of energy per year. Now, that sounds like a lot, 36 terawatts, but that's about 1% of the US energy consumption. But, the thing is, they admitted that not all of the states have very good data on the amount of space that is included in areas like that. And they think that once they get better maps and better land usage, then they would come up with a better and probably larger estimate. Now, again, they only focused on the on-ramps and off-ramps in the area in between there. And I really, as I was reading the article, was hoping that they would eventually say, not to mention the large strips of land between the lanes of the interstate. I mean, when you think of an interstate, it's separated and there's usually a lot, a strip of the land between there. Put solar panels between the, in that strip on the interstates, you could generate so much electricity and just have it run in series, just run, all the way down. Then you would think that there would be a lot of electricity that could be generated there.
Yeah, South Carolina has a,
yeah.
Sorry.
No,
South
go
Carolina
ahead.
has a tree farm in that space in between the lanes. So
Yeah, I mean,
But that's a
anything.
great, solar would be great because, yeah, no one's going to build on it
exactly.
except
Not
for like
only
those
is
rest stop things in the middle.
Those are
right,
also
yeah,
good.
you have the oases, of course, you have interstate oases, but the thing is, interstates don't have trees, except in South Carolina where they have tree farms down the middle, but for the most part, they're cut out. The trees are well away from the road, so you don't have to worry about obstruction. I just think this is a great idea. I'm glad to see people looking into it and researching it. And, anything we can do to burn less coal and natural gas is a step forward. So, I don't have much more on that. It's just, I think it's a great idea. I'm glad to hear people are talking about it.
And it goes really well with all the arguments. Oh, we don't have enough space for solar. We don't have enough space for solar. Mr. Musk has said you can use every rooftop and use a little square the size of Texas. But we've got the land. We've got, like you said, the on-ramps and off-ramps. We've got the space in between the interstates. We've got all the commercial and residential buildings that can support solar on the roof or in their, like above the retention ponds. So somebody pointed out that the floating space above all of the reservoirs that we have for hydroelectric, it helps to retain more water. It's already space that you can't use anyway. We've got space.
And
Consider
additionally,
how many California freeways are filled with, toxic plants like oleander, which they have trouble getting rid of anyway. I think these solar islands make a whole lot of sense as opposed to using those kinds of plants for decoration.
Imagine.
And,
hold on.
okay.
Imagine if we took these solar panels and we connected them to on-road inductive charging.
Boom.
Imagine that every time you went by an overpass, your car charged a little bit. Imagine.
That would be hella cool, actually. That would be hella cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It really would be.
They get that idea for free.
Or they put the power under the interstate to power the electric semi trucks.
Well, or over, right? We saw that one with the road, the little skate comes up and it rides on the wire,
Sure.
Yeah.
Which even more efficient technology than inductive charging and absolutely.
Right.
Although you would
one more
have to
thing from
worry
the-
about you would have to worry about the size of the space in between the two freeways. So I've seen U.S. freeways. They seem to be quite spread apart between the north and southbound lanes or east and westbound lanes. But in my region, there's not that much space on the major routes in between the two lanes of traffic. So it becomes a question of there have to be a certain amount of space in between because, there's a bit of a runoff lane for people that get in an accident or spin off the road or whatever. You'd hate to be slamming into a solar array doing 70 miles an hour or decelerating from 70 miles an hour.
I don't care
okay,
what
but
I'm
look,
hitting at 70 miles an hour.
let's try to take the win for our tendency to actually spread out like giant buckets of molasses spilt all over the place. The way how we just go blah. Let's do something useful. So we're not a compact culture, is what I'm saying, Mark. We're basically middle-aged spread, but as a country.
Well, plus the panels, depending on your configuration, the panels are what, 5 foot by 3 foot. Russell knows exact dimensions for average.
Right.
They were 2 behind him forever.
Is a good rough figure, yes.
Yeah.
2 by 5. Okay.
I think the other thing that this article does that I'm not really clear is a positive thing, and it didn't need to be a negative thing. It said that that if we put solar panels on all this land, it would only represent 1%. So what? So
Yeah,
what? So it's only 1%. That's okay. That's a lot of energy that's generated by clean means. It's not hurting anybody. That's not going to explode or spill or belch smoke. So it's only 1%. That's okay. We can diversify. We can take little steps, a lot of those little steps, and we'll actually do something that makes a difference.
I'm sorry, Russell. It's not perfect. We shouldn't even try.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. The whole
100%.
perfect
Throw
is
in
the
trash.
enemy of the good.
Yes. And again, I mean, the 1% was only what they came up with on the on-ramps and off-ramps. They
That was
didn't
like the
even
little
look
triangle
at,
pieces.
Exactly,
Right.
the little triangle piece. But anyone who's driven east-west knows, you have I-70, I-80. I mean, it runs for
Yeah, most of the country, there's like an
1,000
acre in
miles.
between the east and the westbound.
Right, exactly. Could easily do this. And one more thing from the article that I thought was really good is that the municipality, the Department of Transportation that owns the land is leasing the land to the utility company that is owning and maintaining the solar panels. So it actually is a little bit of revenue for the municipality. So
Revenue
there's
positive.
nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of good that we could do if we just are willing to accept some little steps.
Well, they could use the power, like a lot of intersections. There's big, high lamps to light it up at night. They could power those.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, so much good could come of it.
They could use it to build electric fences to shock little animals for no reason at all.
Oh my God! Well, that went dark.
But if you reduce the deer impacts and other wildlife,
see, shocking, poor harmless Bambi.
Well, you don't have to shock them, just deter them, and
That
then now you've saved millions of dollars in
What drives
in
us
wildlife.
in no way, shape, or form recommends using these areas to shock Bambi, Bambi's mom, Thumper's mom, Thumper, any Disney animal.
I will call the lawyer right now.
I'm going to stick to that, and I'm going to suggest show title. Without further ado, let's talk more about the grid.
Shock Bambi.
Shocking Bambi.
Avoid the Disney trademarks when you name it.
Yes.
Oh, really? Bambi little registered R thing. Disney trademark.
Yeah.
I so want that lawsuit.
No, you don't.
Lawsuit.
No,
Let's go to Georgia
not.
for another story about electricity.
And what I have is
I'm sorry.
super
Was that a surprise?
cool. Everything's always a surprise.
No, I didn't know that.
So the little town of Gonzales, California is trying something new to deal with its energy needs. And it is about to invest in a $70 million microgrid with a kind of a new model for the partnerships that allow these microgrids to be useful. It's in Salinas, and Gonzales has a little problem. It's got heavy power needs, and that would be Taylor Farms and Del Monte Foods. So they have 2 processing facilities there for the town. And they need to be able to add to those facilities or expand the new one, and well, PG&E is just not cutting it as an energy provider for Gonzales. But what Gonzales has worked out doing is a partnership between Taylor Farms, Del Monte Foods, the city of Gonzales, and Concentric Energy. So you're going to have a municipal utility And it's going to be the Gonzales Agriculture Industrial Microgrid Project. And I kind of think it's a pretty cool way, because by having a municipal utility, they can move a lot faster and overcome a lot of the regulations that stop utility customers from sharing power across utility grids. So microgrids are the wave of the future, and if we can't kind of get the law to match up with our needs so that we can test them out, make developments, and figure out which models work for towns, both large and small, well, this new model kind of gives us a real head start on getting around the fact that all the utility regulations would prevent us from doing it. So I think it's actually a great thing. It's for a $70 million investment. I know that sounds super expensive, but for an energy project, that's actually pretty affordable. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to help Gonzales, and if there's other ways that small towns will be able to do that, because I'd love to see something like this, especially if we can make this work for maybe the unincorporated areas, which always have a problem with getting utilities run out to their spots and making sure
Georgia,
things
does
are
it say
dependable.
it's solar powered, or are they just going to buy on the open market?
It is a mix. It is a combination of solar, battery, and natural gas power in the system. So it's not as clean as we would all like. Sure, it'd be great if it was all, green energy. But I think the truth is that we're going to have a holistic look at energy going forward until we can get all the bugs worked out of having solar and wind power options for everyone.
Yeah, I like the idea of the microgrid and being able to, kind of stand on its own. We keep hearing about, blackouts and rolling brownouts, and utility companies not being able to keep up, or the infrastructure not being able to supply electricity. And if we have these microgrids that can stand on their own as individual, little pockets, then yeah, we end up with a more robust grid. And I think everybody wins when we take an approach like this.
I do have one big question though. The hell is PG&E doing with all the money we pay them if they can't handle expansions and
answer.
additional
CEO
facilities?
salaries.
Well, they're definitely not spending that money on, I don't know, upgrading their equipment and testing it for safety. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Even their basic maintenance.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Privatize profits, socialize costs.
Yep.
Wow.
That's how you do business in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of the microgrids, especially for neighborhoods. So business park is even better than a neighborhood because they produce.
Yeah. And I'm not even, opposed. I mean, I could easily see someone saying, looking at, even though it's a township, someone saying, well, government has no business, I actually have no problem with a municipality or, a city or, whatever, providing a service. If you're going to be paying somebody to provide you a service, why not feed it back into the community so that they could invest it into, community efforts, whether it's roads or clean water or, or whatever.
Well, even
internet, school.
Internet. There's towns all over. There's a town down the road from Boulder that has municipal internet, and it's half the price and 3 times as fast as Comcast.
And more stable.
And yeah, probably more reliable. And it's all local people maintaining the network, installing the equipment. The money stays in that community. So.
Right.
The mail.
So if we can do the same thing with the microgrids and stuff, and have the, municipalities supplying, steady and reliable energy, then I'm all for it.
And the truth is, let's be honest, having these small towns be able to be viable and have safe, steady power, and have employment options. We don't want people to have to travel all over the place to work a decent job so that they can have a home and a family. So keeping businesses functioning through these microgrids is wonderful. So I'm heartily for it. Can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
More
Plus-
decentralization.
Plus, you can end up with like a Walking Dead's solar area situation.
We didn't have to bring zombies into it, Casey.
No,
We
we did
didn't.
not.
It's October.
We did not.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
But-
thanks.
We
Thanks for-
still have a ways to get out of 2020. Let's not give the universe any ideas, please. Thank you.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me that the Sci-Fi Channel recently aired 28 Days Later, and I haven't slept in 2 days.
Oh, but that's a great movie. See, now I was watching Z Nation. Now there's a zombie show.
Yeah. There's nothing to get your heart beating quite like Rage Virus chasing you at a full sprint across an English courtyard. Yes.
That explains a lot about the past 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Ba-dum. Nice. Well, speaking of nice.
I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you want to read all the news that we're reading, be sure and check us out online. Looking for our social presence. First of all, we have our Facebook page. Patrick Connor does a great job of keeping the news always up and relevant. I think he updates it a couple of times a day. That's awesome. So find us at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Leave us comments, suggest news items, or just like the page. I don't care. And if you're like me and you use Flipboard as a news aggregator, make sure you look for the What Drives Us magazine. Philip Barclay, an unfortunate Winnipeg Jets fan, helps me gather news from around the world relating to, I had to throw that in, relating to alternative fuel vehicles and advanced technology. Also, if you haven't yet given the show a thumbs up, assuming you're not a Jets fan, go ahead and give the show a thumbs up. And if you... I had to come back to that.
We just lost all of New York now. Thank you.
Winnipeg. But, you know.
It's not New York.
That's a nice football reference.
Oh, it's a football reference. Sorry. Was that a hockey reference?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a hockey reference. Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Who cares?
Wow.
May as well have been a
There's
softball reference, okay?
blah, blah. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Thank you, Tony Schaefer, for confusing me and exposing me for the admitted sports ignorant person that I am.
That was awesome.
Let's go to someone who's not ignorant, especially about Tesla. Mark Coughlin for This Week in Tesla.
Yes, indeed. An exciting week, as it always is. First note is that for all those people that believe that Tesla was not going to replant those trees in Berlin, they've already started. 3 times the amount of trees, indigenous trees, to Germany have started to be planted in and around the new Tesla Berlin Gigafactory. So that's underway. Second is Elon has tweeted, as he always, that's his mode of communication. That's all he does. He tweets all day. Is he lets us know that full self-driving, the first beta release, October 20th. So we're a couple of weeks away. No, we're
Tuesday.
A week away.
We're
Tuesday.
6 days away from this. So Casey and
That's
others
the
are
zombie
hoping they
apocalypse.
will win the full self-driving sweepstakes. We know he won't, but we won't tell him. We'll just keep him in.
Yeah, I'm 3 updates behind right now. It says you're up to date. I'm like, you lied.
Tesla is going to be pre-selecting a number of what they call safe drivers to release the package to them first. So watch for videos to start hitting the airwaves 6 days and 1 minute from now as people start to drive with no hands on the wheel and video recorders in their hand pointing out the window. It's going to be dangerous. So maybe you want to stay home that day.
Keep your hands on the wheel. It just means that you won't have to correct it.
That's not going to...
Next, Model 3 has been shown leaving Fremont factory with some mini refresh items. It's looking like the Chrome Delete is now in play for the Model 3, which of course was standard on the Model Y. And it's also looking that there could be a new rim that's been released as well, a 19-inch rim. And on top of that, things inside the car apparently are changing. The center console is going to go through a complete remakeover, getting rid of the piano black that would pick up all that dust and fingerprints. So apparently that's going to disappear into a matte black or dark gray matte finish. And what's really I'm waiting for is to see whether the automatic power trunk appears, and the heat pump that's on the Model Y, if it appears on the Model 3 as well. So we'll be watching for those as those cars start to be delivered. But we have seen them rolling out of the Tesla factory in Fremont. So things are rolling. And one other note that we always like to touch on What Drives Us is about the tunnels. The tunnels in Vegas. Russell's favorite topic. We've got actually the Las Vegas Convention Center, who is getting their tunnels finished off. Apparently it's going to be in about a month, the inaugural drive through the operating tunnel. They're just finishing up the workstation or the stations. But what's happened is that the Las Vegas Convention Center group has applied to the city to expand the system massively. Not just now in the Las Vegas Convention Center, but now we're talking about running north and south of the Strip, as well as a connection to in the north, the Fremont. What do they call it? The Fremont
Fremont Experience.
Downtown.
Connecting that with the old downtown, as well as all the way south to the arena, and then over to the west, which would be the McLaren Airport.
I was just going to say.
I'd say, yeah, how about the airport?
Yeah, how about the airport? Let's just for the heck of it connect something to the airport, for God's sakes.
So they've posted this request to the city of Las Vegas, and now we're going to see it's going to go through a number, I guess, of hoops to jump through, and they're going to take a look at what's required and such. But again, this is about maybe 12 or 15 times the size of the original project that's not even complete. So looks like Las Vegas is going to be looking into this to see if that's something they're going to want. And it looks like the Las Vegas Convention Center, they control a lot more than just the convention center, apparently, because they're the ones that are proposing this. It's not Tesla or the Boring Company. It's the Las Vegas Convention Center head is the one that presented it at a meeting in Las Vegas. So not sure how that works.
I think it's the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Okay.
Save on transportation fees. Hey, while you're here, just to extend that a little bit more. We don't want to pay to bring you back.
So that's it. A lot of stuff going on, and of course Russell's favorite subject of the tunnel. We'll be watching that like a hawk.
Maybe I can drive to that instead.
Or you'll be watching the tunnel like a mole. I mean, I don't know that hawks can actually see.
A mole.
Like a prairie dog.
Yeah.
Or a prairie dog.
Or watching the tunnel entrance like a hawk.
Yeah.
I like that. Very nice. Well, let's
It's a place where they could put those shocked animals.
right? Bambi's got to go
somewhere.
somewhere when she's not running across the freeway trying to kill people.
Hey, you know what? That would be the perfect place for solar panels. If they're doing 2 lanes,
Yes.
then you could, right.
Nothing wrong with that plan.
It's bound to work.
Let's go to Tony for a story on everyone's other favorite electric vehicle company, Rivian.
Hey, so yeah, I want to show you here. Now, this is going to be a surprise to a lot of people.
No.
I understand that, but
Tony, please.
I want you to look at an
okay,
electric
good.
vehicle that actually looks like a truck. All right, just wanted to get that out of the way. So
That
here's an
doesn't
electric
roll
truck
downhill for the demo.
that doesn't roll downhill or look like a 3-year-old that got a hold of some geometric shapes and decided to throw wheels on it. It looks like an American truck. So Rivian is expected to release the R1T for their truck and their R1S for the SUV next year, and relatively early next year. So we got some additional information and some new updates about them.
Next year's pretty close.
Yep.
Next year is pretty close. Early next year, the R1T is expected to come out. The price is expected to be between $70,000 and $80,000. And it's expected to come in 3 battery sizes, 105, 135, 180 kilowatts. Now that's expected to get 230, 300, and 400 miles respectively. So no slouch on the range here, 400 miles on the highest level, which we assume that's the 80,000 mile model, which is a fair assumption. The interior is actually quite impressive. You know,
They're gorgeous. Yeah.
And so I'm just going to, I lost my window here.
Oh no.
I'm going to screen share this. So yeah, the interior of the truck is clean, looks nice. It's got that big center console, sort of, you know, a la Tesla, you know, the Model 3 center, but then also the dashboard right in front, that traditional car dashboard. It's got wood and leather accents. It's considered a luxury vehicle, and for $80,000, I would expect as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
a lot of regular pickups are approaching 80 grand these days.
They are.
yes,
Really?
and you would think, you know, with you know, Casey often talks about the fleet managers, and you would think that if you work for or a fleet manager for a construction company, and you have the option of paying the same amount of money, $70,000 to $80,000, and you can get something that has no engine and a lot less maintenance, and all you have to do is plug it in. And we know electric fuel costs a lot less than diesel fuel. Plus, if you roll up on a job site and you have electric tools, you basically have a rolling generator with you, and you could run you know, electric stuff right out of this truck.
So it's one less thing to buy that needs gas and
Yeah.
maintenance.
Exactly. You don't have to haul around the generator. I mean, you're literally driving the generator. And then the other is the R1S, which is the SUV, and have 3 rows of seats. It's expected to start at about $73,500. Again, early 2021 delivery. It's using the same platform as the truck, but instead of 4 motors that the truck has, a motor on each wheel for all-wheel drive, the R1S, it says, is, and this is hotcars.com, they say that it's only going to have 3 motors in it. So it's not going to have the same 4 motors, but it will tow up to 7,700 pounds with a payload capacity of 1,800 pounds. So again, certainly no slouch here when it comes to you know, towing and hauling stuff. The same 135 kilowatt hour motor. And so that's going to get you a lot of range for the SUV, 135. They're saying about 300 miles of range.
And the fast charging will be CCS on these?
CCS.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do have a shot here of the interior of the SUV. And yes, that is gorgeous. That is a very beautiful interior right there. Leather wrapped, almost everything.
Yeah, I went up to New York just over a year ago for one of their owner launch parties of this vehicle, and they're phenomenal. I monopolized the time of every engineer I could get my hands on. They know their stuff. The prototypes way better built than many of the prototypes that I've seen at that stage of development, and they felt like you were getting your money's worth. I like that the multiple motors are inboard, kind of like Tesla, versus in the wheel motors like Lordstown. Just less chance to jostle them around and mess them up. And it looks like they've done their homework, and I would be happy to own one of these.
Yeah, it's, so many people have said, when is anyone coming out with an electric truck? And here you go. And I certainly hope that they sell like hotcakes. You know, I hope they have a hard time getting them out the door.
I have a friend on the waiting list, and they tell me it's looking like summer next year is when their delivery number is expected to pop up. So,
yeah.
But
Beautiful
we've said
thing.
it before. I wish all the other manufacturers except Tesla would get together and build a CCS charging network that was as encompassing as Tesla's network, because they'd all benefit from, stimulating the sales of these vehicles.
Yep, and then Tesla's a signatory on the CCS group. So I mean, you use that leverage that knowledge.
Right. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, we need to come up with a standard, and not fight with each other.
And a ubiquitous
Infighting.
network. Like it should be just as easy to drive that truck across the country as a gas truck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so what if the people who built the truck also built the fuel network? Just because the way we've done it 100 years is that they doesn't mean that they shouldn't.
Right. And they used to, automobile manufacturers used to run gas stations.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to go to the drugstore.
There you go. Well, speaking of fueling networks, let's go to Georgia for a different sort of fuel.
Different sort of fuel. Well,
Different sort of fuel.
here's the thing. The green hydrogen economy. We kind of lost out on the solar economy because, I don't know, we kept electing people who didn't want us to go out there and really corner the market on solar equipment and all the fixings. So it all got shipped off to China, and we lost out on our opportunity to have homegrown US. But what about hydrogen? Hydrogen is going to be the next wave of how we power ourselves. And can we actually get to the point where we're going to invest in doing all the R&D and the manufacture of whatever we need to really be top of the line on green hydrogen right here in the good old US of A? Because you know what? It's not going to get cheaper to ship shit abroad and bring it back here to the US. And it's also one of the weirdest things, like, which we have found out right here during this COVID crisis. Hey, if we let other countries handle all of our manufacture, it means when we have a crisis right here, all we've got is memes and some TikTok dances. And frankly, that did not make one fucking mask. So we should maybe try having the industry right here in the good old US of A and revitalize a lot of places with some hands-on manufacturing jobs right here in the US. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
I kind of thought it was pretty cool.
The TikTok masks weren't surgical grade, and I'm not sure they sent so many out after they did the video.
So, do we feel that hydrogen is being reborn? We're historically not huge hydrogen proponents on the show.
Well, think about it though. We generate, according to the article, we generate 11.4 million metric tons of hydrogen with a value of 17.6 billion. But if we're able to match this report's targeting, we're looking at 140 billion per year in revenue, 700,000 jobs by 2030, and 750 billion per year in revenue, cumulative 3.4 million jobs by 2050.
Well, when you look at what we're at today, there are places that batteries can't handle or can't handle economically. You've got aircraft and shipping, as far as like water ships. And depending on whose math you want to listen to, Elon's or the guy who doesn't believe in Elon, long-haul trucking. So it has its uses. It's not passenger cars like they keep pushing on us, but if they can generate it green, then yeah. But if they're going to strip natural gas, then we might as well burn the natural gas directly.
Well, the cool thing is, okay, so Plug Power signed a deal with Brookfield Renewable Partners to supply 100% renewable power for what they're describing as a gigafactory, whatever, that it plans to build here in the US. And the factory will be capable of producing up to 60,000 fuel cells and about 500 megawatts of green hydrogen electrolyzers per year. So think that's a pretty good start. Right
As
there.
long as they're targeting them where it makes sense to do so, like those industries that are weight sensitive, or like the ships and the well, not the ships are weight sensitive, but they can't wait around for the batteries to
Range,
charge.
yeah.
And then the airplanes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
we're gonna have to
again,
do something.
we've said many times on this show, hydrogen is not a fuel source. It's a fuel. It's not an energy source. It's an energy transport.
Just like electricity.
Yes.
You put energy, you consume energy to make the hydrogen, and then you use the hydrogen to generate, energy.
Yeah.
But so that's the primary advantage having hydrogen is it is more portable than shipping batteries across the country, for example. And that is the thing. If we can generate it, if they can do green hydrogen, then I'm all on board. But yeah, so far that has just been a fairy tale. So I would love to see this come to fruition.
Yeah,
Let's start
certainly
submitting.
the key thing in this conversation is, they call it green hydrogen, but is it actually renewable? Like, are we talking about a resource that can be sustainable as opposed to burning fossil fuels to generate hydrogen? That's what it boils down to for me.
I mean, I guess if it's cracked from water using wind power at night, which would otherwise be thrown away, then it could be renewable, but
Right.
does it
Right.
pencil out,
I think when Matt Klippenstein's been on the show, he's talked with some detail about scaling up hydrogen for specific commercial uses and how it begins to make sense when the example that Paul just gave, when you're using renewable energy to make the hydrogen rather than trying to crack natural gas and then ship it in boats and all that junk. We can get to a place where hydrogen makes sense for some uses. And I don't think we should poo-poo it as a category. I
Right.
think we are legitimately skeptical about it for certain uses, passenger cars.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, you can do it at the point, just like you can with electric. Like, hey, this is the shipping hub for Delta or American or wherever. We're going to make our hydrogen right here on site rather than shipping it across the country. Well, actually, from Canada to wherever the depot is.
Right. And I was thinking about the Metro rail system in Chicago. The trains go into the station several times a day. So that would be a perfect place to top off. Currently they run diesel.
Ugh.
They're technically electric, but the electric generators are used to power, no, they're electric. The diesel generators are used
diesel electric.
to generate. Yeah, they're diesel electric. And so they're throwing out plumes of burnt diesel, but they're electric trains. Like, okay,
They're on a fixed route. Put a third rail down and be done with it.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I think everybody has like a really good sense of the fact that we need to make sure that the hydrogen is green. But when you consider the ways that green and electric vehicle can be, as you just pointed out, hiding the fact that it's a big old pollutant diesel thing, we'll have to look more
In the middle
into
of the
it and
city.
see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish them luck. I mean, because like the more green we have, the better. But I just hope it's real, and the best technology. Whatever wins.
You're right.
Absolutely. Well, for our final story tonight, let's go to Casey Green, who's going to talk.
Fools.
Go, Casey.
So, whoever wrote this headline was a little cheeky with it, and they got our own Patrick kind of for a moment, and then he caught what they were up to, and so he decided to share it with us. So they say, Rivian has delivered the first of 100,000 electric vans for Amazon.
It's not what your eyes see when you
yes.
see, yeah. And what your eye sees, what your brain reads is Rivian has delivered 100,000 electric vans.
Which would be phenomenal.
Yes.
Not to poo-poo what they have done. They have delivered one. They made their commercials already. Yes.
Just
So-
one.
99,999 more to go.
So more than that. So within the next, they're going to deliver that first van, or start delivering with the van within the next year, early next year, and then in the next 2 years, they're going to have 9,999 more of these vans. So the first 10,000 will be on the road in 2 years, and then by 2030, they'll have the other 90,000 on the road, delivering packages. So no more gas, diesel, whatever, start, stop. And these things are it's a great use. They're not necessarily on a fixed route, but they're in a fixed geography. They have a lot of start and stop, and a lot of the stuff they deliver is either air or really heavy. There really isn't much in between.
Have you guys
this is the
noticed
perfect
the
use.
trend about Amazon farming out their deliveries to other parcel delivery services?
They do that, but this would be used for the ones that are done by the independent contractors that for Amazon exclusively.
Okay.
Yeah, to replace the Sprinter vans and whatever else they use when they don't use the Sprinter van.
Yeah, and I see both types coming through here. I see the official Amazon vans driving through my neighborhood, and then I also see like enterprise rent-a-vans driving around and people, hauling packages out of it. And I literally am convinced that they are renting the van and driving for Amazon.
They are, and then they have something like
Can I
Uber.
address that?
Go ahead.
Yes, Russell.
Okay.
Having some experience with Amazon. So Amazon's Prime fleet are our Sprinter vans, the gray Prime ones that you see, but there are thousands and thousands of other rental vans that they rent from Enterprise. Dodge ProMasters for transits, even the crappy, rattly GM Express van. So because they do a lot of deliveries, because their business ramps up in fourth quarter, they tend to rent a lot in the fourth quarter. You'll see a lot more unmarked or Enterprise
Or
marked
magnet.
vans. Yeah. So that's all. They're all Amazon vehicles, sort of.
And they still use FedEx, UPS, and U.S. Post Office. to
Right,
deliver
and USPS,
And DHL,
absolutely,
yeah. Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I've had like 4 packages from Amazon in the same day from 4 different trucks.
they'll also use personal vehicles like a Uber and Lyft sort of situation with the gig economy, like where the person literally they get a ping on their phone, they deliver the package to you, they do it again.
Yeah.
So basically, however to get it to you fastest and cheapest while meeting their service agreements. So.
Right. But with these trucks from Rivian, yes, the Patrick Conner always says, every EV mile is a good mile.
Yes,
So
and
just
these
think
are
of
actually
how
quite.
many. So just think of how many miles we're replacing with these. Yeah.
Exactly. These are actually quite
they could
beautiful
put
inside.
all their distribution centers on top of the mountain, so the trucks could regen on the way down.
That's the mining truck from last year.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that.
But so they're regular cargo vans. They've got fold-out shelves. They're very, very practical. They're basically exclusively designed to Amazon spec. The headrests have little smiles on them, and they've got the dual screen setup like the other Rivians that we just saw, and it even has like steering wheel controls and stuff. They're quite nice. And
Yeah.
there you go.
So here's the back side. Yeah. The back.
This is it.
Ooh, that's a Sprinter. Yeah. Oh, is that the Rivian?
That's the Rivian.
That's the Rivian. Yeah.
Looks just
Yep,
like
and
the
those shelves
Sprinter.
fold up, so when you don't need, like, if you got something tall, you don't have to worry about a shelf being in the way.
Is it wrong that I kind of really do want to pick up one of those vans? I mean, it looks like a great
I would love
No.
to turn one into a tiny house, like
That
for
is
RV
not
camping.
wrong at all.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
And they're big.
Us
They're-
riding through the dystopia left of Corona in a beautiful remodeled Amazon Rivian van.
Yeah,
I'm leaving the house now, Georgia.
and they're not small. They're the size of the big Sprinter, the one that would basically be a dually if it were an Amazon, and perfect for the job.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how relatively boring Mad Max Fury Road would be if they were all driving EVs?
With solar panels on the roof.
Just saying.
Be fighting each other for batteries.
Right.
Batteries and food.
I can see that. Dun, 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 dun. Give me that battery.
How ridiculously wasteful that movie was for a bunch of people who were chasing after fuel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious now if these are single motor or dual motor or what.
Did I say? Because there is
I hope it's a dual
Amazon
motor.
storage.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
say the
am
range in
really-
miles.
Yeah. No.
Does not
I think.
say.
Yeah. No. I think this article, which is in Jalopnik, I mean, this article is more about the delivery and less about the specs. So.
Yeah. I actually like these headlights better than the ones on the other Rivians.
I do like the Rivian
I think they're
SUV, but
cute.
yeah, I've got a soft
Gorgeous.
spot for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
That
lights
delivery.
on those are, sorry. The lights on those are actually better looking in person, especially when you get up on them. They've got little Rivians written inside they call them the stadium headlights. So they look like stadium light.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's call that a night, and let's do some shout outs and go home, because I think we've put in our regulation 1 hour per week. In fact, maybe a little more than that. Let's start with
Bonus.
I'm sorry?
You get a little bonus.
Yeah, a little bonus. That's it. And speaking of a bonus, let's start with Casey Green.
Hi, everybody. I run a little YouTube channel called Casey Green. It's at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREEN. I am floating between 974 and 978 subscribers right now, and I could really use your help pushing over that 1,000 mark. I've got the watch hours. I just need a couple more friends to help us out to get to the YouTube Partner Program. Please help me out. Subscribe.
There you go. Well, do check out Casey's channel and subscribe. Come on, it's okay.
It's free.
Sure, it took us 10 years to get to 1,000, but
YouTube thinks it took me 10 years too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have someone else's show to advertise on.
Yeah, exactly. We'll let Casey carry us for a while. That'd be good. Speaking of carrying me, every day I love and drive my Boulder Hybrids Prius. So let's go to Paul Guzik.
Yeah, geez, I wish I had a lot of fun cars to sell, but I'm running out of inventory. I had a nice Lexus NX hybrid SUV, sold that today. We sold our Prius Prime the other day. I do have a nice low mileage older Lexus SUV hybrid, a 400H. It's on our website at boulderh.com. If anyone in Colorado's looking for a winter snow machine, it's an '08, but it only has like 75,000 miles on it. So lots of life left in it. But check us out, boulderh.com, for used hybrid sales. And there's a couple of non-hybrids up there right now because I'm just short on inventory. And if you need your hybrid or EV repaired, boulderhc.com. Check us out.
As a customer and the president of the Hair Club for Men, I recommend Boulder Hybrids. Okay. I'm not sure where the Hair Club for Men came in, but as a customer of Paul's, I highly recommend him. Mr. Coughlin, I know you have something.
Just a shout out to the Waterloo Region EVA, and feel free to follow us on YouTube as well at youtube.com/WREVA.
Absolutely. And don't forget, the best source for Tesla news is at the Tesla Life on Twitter.
Absolutely.
So there you go, because that's where our This Week in Tesla news comes from. Georgia McKenzie, what would you like to talk about this week?
Just your regular reminder, you got to vote this year. It's a big election, a lot of things happening. Don't forget to go to Ballotopedia to find out about all the races and all the issues that are currently on your ballot, and follow the frickin' instructions, people. Don't wing it on this one. Please don't write in anything silly like Harambe, or today it was Ariana Grande. Somebody wrote in Ariana Grande. Take it seriously, because it's going to affect whether or not you're able to have all the super cool solar and green hydrogen, and even something as simple as car quality standards for gas cars. So your vote's important, your voice is important. Go show your power.
Make sure you pay attention to if it says anything about what you write with. Apparently, a couple people were caught with that, and that is not the situation we want.
most take black or blue ink. Please don't use red because it would probably bugger the scanner. And make sure you sign what you gotta sign, damn it.
Yep.
And use your privacy envelope if it requires.
Pay attention and do vote.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
do it right.
Tony Schaefer, bring us home, my friend.
Well, I'm gonna double down on George's. Please vote, and yes, follow all the instructions. And please, for the love of God, if you can, go out for early voting. We already know that in some places, an entire political party is intentionally putting up bogus drop boxes. And I'm not going to call out the GOP, even though they deserve it. But if you can, even if you get the mail-in ballot, you can take it directly to the courthouse and drop it off yourself. And if you don't mind, you could go and do early voting. A month worth of early voting, go do it.
And a lot of counties have
Fine.
drive-through drop-off. So
Yep.
you drive by the county office and drop it off.
My place was in the news for the incredibly long lines. I brought my mail in, walked past the entire line. It took me 10 seconds for the person in front of me to finish their certification. I did mine. I was in and out in under 30 seconds and back to my car.
Yes.
Well, my first vote wound up being just me walking up and dropping it into
There you go.
what looked like a mailbox, but delivered.
Right.
I love that story.
And with all of that, I don't know where you are watching or listening to this show. Of course, if you're watching the show, it's probably on YouTube. If you're listening to it, you could have gotten it from Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, iTunes, whichever one. If you stumbled upon it, please subscribe. It helps our numbers, and you'll get new ones every week. And that's a great thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that, Tony. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Do support him as he supports this show and has for 356 episodes.
Wow.
Is that even possible? I don't.
He's a great guy.
He is. He's a good guy. I want to thank everybody on this show. That means Paul Guzik, Georgia McKenzie, Tony Schaefer, Casey Green, and Mark Coughlin. Thank you so much, you guys. Great show tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you out there for watching. You're the reason we do this show. Please do go to YouTube and hit the subscribe, get some notifications. And you know what? One more thing, please share the page with the friend. Ask them to subscribe to, share it. If you like a show, share it with your friends. That helps us enormously, costs you nothing, except of course, they'll look down on you because you besmirched your reputation by associating yourself with this show. And really, what better way to besmirch yourself? Well, maybe there's a couple better ways, but we're not going to go into that because, oh, the lawyer's calling, sorry. So with that, I'm going to say, tune in next week and find out what drives us.
This is where we all sing the theme music.
This is where we... There we go.
Hey.